con amor. Buenos días, alegría. Buenos días al amor. Buenos días a la vida. Buenos días, Señor Sol. Yo seguiré tratando ser mejor. Yo seguiré tratando ser mejor. Buenos días. Todas las mañanas que entra por mi ventana el Señor Sol. Doy gracias a Dios por otro día más. Hoy como otros días yo seguiré tratando ser mejor y sonriendo haré las cosas con amor. Buenos días, alegría. Buenos días al amor. Buenos días a la vida. Buenos días, Señor Sol. Yo seguiré tratando ser mejor. Yo seguiré tratando ser mejor. Buenos días. Yo seguiré tratando ser mejor. Yo seguiré tratando ser mejor. Buenos días. Buenos días.
Happy spring. As of 30 minutes ago, we were officially into spring. Hallelujah. Amen. Yay, yay, yay. So we have a very exciting service for you. It's a collaborative service with our Spanish service. We're going to pepper Spanish and English all through the service. You're going to be very glad for having come today. We invite you to stand and join us in singing, "O Great Spirit."
Oh, great Spirit, earth and sky and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, gran Espíritu, tierra, sol y mar, tú estás en todo, tú estás en mí. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, gran Espíritu, tierra, sol y mar, tú estás en todo, tú estás en mí. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, gran Espíritu, tierra, sol y mar, tú estás en todo, tú estás en mí. Oh, great Spirit,
And all around me, tú estás
en todo, tú estás en mí.
The Spanish language ministry. They're celebrating 4 years of our Spanish ministry today, and they've joined us in our service. We're so grateful for you. And Claudia, for the incredible work you and your team have done. Instead of our normal children's lesson today, we're inviting our Youth and Family Minister Director, Stephen Krugler. He's going to come up, and the kids have prepared something really beautiful for the first day of spring.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this morning we're going to celebrate spring equinox. So we're going to have a little ceremony. So if all the kids could come up with their flowers, and the teachers, if you could come up. Okay, so what you do is put the flowers on the altar. And that's Mother Nature angel up there. Do we have all the kids? It's a couple more. Okay, and what happens is Reverend Sheila created a ceremony or a little blessing for us. So some of you have it in your hands. So I'll start it, and then all of you join in, and the teachers too. As the earth turns and says farewell to winter, we greet the spring with joy and honor the flowers it brings. And the birds that sing, welcome, sweet spirit. So it's up on the video or the screens. Let's say it once more time, and have the adults say it with us, okay? So we'll say it one more time. As the earth turns and says farewell to winter, we greet the spring with joy and honor the flowers it brings. And the birds that sing, welcome, sweet spirit. Okay, so what we're doing is we're welcoming spring, and this is a blessing for spring. And spring means rebirth, awakening, coming alive. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go over to the pyramid, and we're going to come alive. We're going to have drumming and musical instruments, and we're going to sing and dance and have a fun time. And then after the service, we're going to have our family fun day, okay? And you know what's at the family fun day? What we have to eat? What do you think is going to be there? Pizza is right. Thank you, Laura. So I have pizza and salad, and we'll do a creative expression, a family fun activity, and create a mural, and then create a collage. Okay. Thank you, Leland. Okay, so let's have the teachers. We'll take them back to the classroom, count the kids, make sure you have everyone, and then we'll go over to the pyramid. Thank you.
Hi everyone, it's great to be with you today. I miss everyone, and I want to thank you so much for your love and support. I'm here to talk about something that really helped me a lot recently, and that was the gift of a blood transfusion. As you may know, I'm in the middle of my cancer recovery journey. After 13 straight weeks of chemotherapy, my red blood cells had dipped really low. The good news is that the chemo is working, but the challenging news is that my treatment could not continue without a blood transfusion. It's always a struggle for the blood supply to keep up with the demand. Cancer patients have to get really low numbers to qualify for a transfusion. I never imagined that a transfusion would be so important to my recovery. I used to think that blood transfusions would be used for trauma or major surgery, but there I was getting a blood transfusion. I wish I could thank the person who donated the blood to me personally. Instead, I'd like to thank all of you who have ever given blood in the past and anyone who plans to give blood in the future. I'll just close by saying God bless all of you. I miss you, I love you, and I can't wait to get back to Unity of Houston. Thank you. Bye.
contemplating eternal life. When we count out our physical life in seconds and moments and hours and days, even years, can be difficult, can be a challenge thinking in those terms, especially when we know that our lives actually begin before birth and extend beyond death. How do we square those two things? On Wednesday night, we're going to be talking about living in eternity from the book that Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, Living Buddha, Living Christ. And Thich Nhat Hanh says that touching the present moment allows us to be in the presence of all of the past that led up to this moment, as well as the future it is creating. Join us as we explore what that really means to be living in the moment, and consider how it is that we can help create our future as well as taste a moment of holy eternity. Join us.
Our Sacred Service Ministry Director, Cindy Klein, to join me on stage, and we're going to invite you to 2 weeks from today for our celebration of all of our volunteers. I think we're going to have a little video to start. Is that right? From our staff.
Unity volunteers are the best. Thank you for all that you do.
Hi, and thank you for your volunteer service. We love you.
Volunteers, we love you. We could not do it without you.
You are the light of the world.
Unity volunteers are so amazing. You are loved and appreciated.
We just love you so much. I just want to honor you. You are the bomb diggity.
We love our volunteers.
Apreciamos tu servicio amoroso. Gracias.
You are love in action. Your passion and energy are unparalleled.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all your volunteering.
Thank you. You make it all possible.
We love our volunteers. Thank you all so much for giving the gift of your time and talents to help our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We love our volunteers.
Good morning. You feel the love, right? Oh, we do love our volunteers. And if you volunteered in any capacity in 2021 or 2022, we want to acknowledge and celebrate you. Mark your calendars for Sunday, April the 3rd. Here in the church service, we will have a special acknowledgement and honoring of you. And then after church service, we'll have a party out in the courtyard. We're going to have music and dancing and some special surprises and cake. Yes, cake. We'll have cake. So please join us. Mark your calendar for Sunday, April the 3rd. Come, let us love on you and show you how much we appreciate you. We'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. So I just want to say welcome to anyone. If this is your first Sunday with us here at Unity of Houston, particularly if you're new in the sanctuary, maybe you've been watching us online for a while, but today is your first day to be with us. What we encourage you to do is go to the welcome table out in the courtyard today. It's a beautiful spring day, and we have a gift for you out there. If you're watching us online and this is your first time with us, or if you haven't yet filled out our connection card, our virtual connection card, we ask you to do that today. You'll find it pinned in the comments section on Facebook. It's in the video description on YouTube, and it'll be right on our homepage, unityhouston.org. I'd like to say wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are most welcome at Unity. Thank you for being here today. We're celebrating not only spring, the vernal equinox today, but we're also celebrating Women's History Month. And so each week we've been having one of our own staff members who is a spiritual leader in her own right come and share of a spiritual leader or an influencer that has really been impactful for them and for all of us. Please welcome Donna Fisher. She is the director of our Unity Women.
When I was invited to share with you today, so many influential women came to mind, and I got to choose one, and I chose Dr. Jean Houston. She's a scholar, a philosopher, a researcher, a writer, a speaker, a visionary. Born in 1937 in New York City, her father was Jack Houston. related to Sam Houston, our city's namesake, so even though she didn't come from here, I think we get to claim her as one of us. She studied and got a PhD in psychology and a PhD in religion. She got a job on a research project to study the effects of psychedelic drugs on the brain. And then she went on to study the effects of visualization and imagery and body movements on the brain and how we can reprogram our brain. She was the co-founder of the Foundation for Mind Research. She's traveled all over the world as an advisor for UNICEF and the United Nations, written over 30 books. I could go on. And her world travelers brought her here to Unity Campus. She's been here. Some of us had the opportunity to meet her. I still remember her evening lecture, her Saturday program for Unity Women. It was really a privilege and an honor to meet her in that way. She's also influenced some of the spiritual practices that are common here on our campus. The soul collage process, Sina Frost, who is the founder of that, attributes Jean Houston to her development of that process because it was in one of Jean Houston's 3-year-long programs that started. And then the Labyrinth Walk that we enjoy here on campus also is attributed to Jean Houston because Lauren Artist did her very first walk of a labyrinth at a Jean Houston workshop. And she had such a spiritual experience that she went on to lead that movement. So she's very present here in our community. So, and at 84, she continues. She continues to travel and speak and research and write and do programs online and in person. And I choose to really share her soul, her essence, her wisdom with you today by sharing some of her quotes. So what Jean Houston has to say to you is, we all have the extraordinary coded within us, waiting to be released. You are not a passive observer in this cosmos. The entire universe is expressing itself through you at this very moment. And so apropos at this time, the world needs the sense that we are all in it together. Now is the time when we must renew ourselves and live as if we all and all of life is sacred, and as if everything we do makes a difference. And I love what she has to say about laughter. At the height of laughter, the universe is flung into a kaleidoscope of new possibilities. And she honors women, saying when the mind of women is fully available, focused on coherence and growth and connection, it changes the way we educate, govern, and worship. And with that in mind, I invite you to consider closing your eyes for a moment. And in your own mind, honor the women in your life, past and present, ones you know personally or ones you know from their work, their books, their programs, their leadership. Those who've educated you, encouraged you, loved you, supported you, been there for you. Hold them in your heart and your mind. Send a silent thank you and actually imagine and visualize your love and gratitude touching women all around the world. The divine feminine stands strong, blessing our world and all humanity. And so it is. And I am grateful.
Beginning of spring, we were putting together different elements of music, and we kept thinking, we need a really fantastic native flute player. It's like, I have a guy, but he lives in Dallas. But I reached out to him, and he agreed to drive down, and he drove halfway because he had a gig in Dallas last night, so I think he's working on about 3 hours of sleep. But this is the most amazing, he plays world flute, is the way he explained it, Eastern Native American flutes, and he teaches all over the world, too. He's just an incredible gift. Would you please welcome Cornell Kinderconnect to our service today? And Cornell will be leading our band in one of his original compositions as we prepare for meditation. So breathing in that beauty. Thank you, Cornell. Give you such love. There's something about that music that connects me to the earth. And I invite you now to close your eyes. Find your breath. And if you're not doing so, I invite you to place your feet flat on the floor, wherever you are, whether at home or here in our sanctuary. And just imagine that you are drawing life energy from the very center of the earth through the soles of your feet and up through your entire body. Every cell in our body comprised of atoms, bits of the earth, that our bodies are a gift from Mother Earth. And the energy that moves these atoms in coherent life is the Spirit of God, moving with the Spirit of Gaia, Mother Earth. And we experience incarnation. We experience the spiritual life in a human body. What a gift this is. So feeling the supportive energy, the grounding energy of the earth beneath our feet, rising through all the chakras along our spine. We are strong, we are powerful, we are grounded. Nothing that arises in the world of form and condition can move us from the truth of connection, from the truth of life, the truth of growth, expansion, healing, wholeness. When we go through difficult emotional times, sometimes we feel disconnected, we feel anxious. And this technique of visualizing ourselves grounded by the earth, sustained and supported by the energy of the earth, is a beautiful way of integrating everything that happens in our lives back to spirit, back to wholeness. So whatever is happening in our lives right now that has us feeling ungrounded, allow this energy, this anchoring, life-supporting energy of earth to hold you now. And for myself, this fills me with a sense of peace and well-being. I can stop worrying about the future or regretting the past. I can be present, held, loved in this moment, knowing that all is well, that I am safe, I am protected. Expanding into this moment, knowing my wholeness, my power, my gifts, my calling. And so now I invite us all to again visualize ourselves connected, filling our hearts with gratitude for all the gifts of Mother Earth, the food we eat, the water we drink, the atmosphere we breathe, all of the ways that we use the gifts of the earth to make all of the useful things in our lives. Now imagine sending that gratitude energy back down through our very body into the earth. And if there is a particular place on the planet where you know that we have overused or harmed the earth, use this energy of gratitude and connection to send healing to the earth right now. Whatever place comes to mind for you. We are sons and daughters of God, and we are also sons and daughters of the earth. Grateful for this connection. grateful for this beautiful spring day where we welcome new life, new energy, new possibility. So for the space of 3 or 4 breaths, let us just sit in this energy of connection and nurture, feeling how wonderful it is to be a part of life on beautiful earth. I'm so grateful, so very grateful. Thank you, God. Thank you, Mother Earth. Amen and amen.
Did you feel your commitment to the care of our planet that we've been entrusted with? Thank you, Reverend Michael. We are a ministry that is committed to be good stewards of the earth. We are here to serve the divine life of this planet and know that we are connected to earth, sky, sea, animals. We recognize that and we honor that. And in this time of our service where we commit to giving to this ministry, we give in an awareness that we serve not only people, we serve the earth and all life through the work that we're doing here, which just touches the energetic vibration of the planet. Yes? Yes, we feel ourselves blooming and uplifted with spring today, yes? Yes, and so let's give in that consciousness this morning as you give here in the sanctuary or through our website, text to give. We are so grateful for your generosity that allows us to do this work of God that we are blessed to get to do. And so let's join together and send our offering with a spring-like joy as we join together in our prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. And so it is. Amen.
Small green island spinning round and round in space. You and I on a small green island spinning round and round in space, and the small green island is a living being, and we the living proof of her grace. Yes, in the night, the children are dying. The sound of their crying has just reached my ears. I must fight through the numbness of distance and numbers to embrace my sister brothers in tears. You and I on a small green island, spinning round and round in space. The cries of the dying, the song of life rising. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Will you take a stand for freedom of spirit and this brotherhood of man? Will you make a difference? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. You and I on a small green island, spinning round and round in space. You and I on a small green island, spinning round and round in space. And the small green island is a living being, and we, the living proof of her
It's like an art song, and I could listen. I mean, that old joke, but I could hear Ken Gale sing the phone book. Do we still have phone books anymore? I don't know what the equivalent is, but wow. Talk about the epitome of grace and power. Thank you, Ken. Let's check the score, and then we're done. 16-9, the Cougars are winning, so okay. There are pastors all over Houston today that are so bothered by this. How could they schedule the University of Houston game in the NCAA tournament at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning? Why would they do that? We don't really talk about the devil much, but I'm beginning to rethink that. So. I have something to say today. I don't know what it is. There's something about spring that my energies just come alive. I think I'm just sort of wired to this. And we're talking about, I've chosen for the title, More Than You Know, and that using spring as a metaphor that sometimes it may look like lifeless and barren in our lives. We go through difficult times, but there's more than we know available. And that's what the whole planet, at least in the northern hemisphere right now, we're seeing that. Things that appeared to be dead are coming to life. New things happening everywhere. Can you feel how excited I get by this? I am so excited. And I have so much I want to say, like too much. I have too many sermons I want to give this morning. So I was really trying all week long. I've been like, I can't talk about that. I want to tell that story. No, I can't do all that. I've got to find the time. So I spent time distilling it down to 2 words: hope and transformation. That's what we're talking about today. But first, Twitter. I am just loving looking for real life things that parents are posting on Twitter about their life with their children. It's better than any comic writer, I'll tell you. This one is her Twitter handle is called I Hide From My Kids. And she says this: absolutely travel with your kids. It's important that they experience begging to watch their iPad in new environments. And this is one, it's called Daddy Go Fish. That's his handle. He's putting his child to bed. He says, I love you. The 7-year-old says, I love you too. Dad says, I love you to infinity. The 7-year-old, I love you to infinity too. The dad, I love you more than ice cream. The 7-year-old, silence. What flavor? I just love that. That's so good. There's great hope in the new generations. Spring, oh my goodness. If you're not, well, and I know that we are now global, so if you in the southern hemisphere are entering into autumn now, I think most of us are probably up here where things are beginning to shift. And today, you know what the vernal equinox is? It's the day, David said, at 10:33 this morning, the sun was perfectly over the equator, which means today is the day that the day and the night is the same length all over the planet. It'll happen again in the fall. You know, the days have been getting longer, the nights have been getting shorter since December 21st, which is the winter solstice, and now they'll continue to get longer and hotter and longer, and things grow. In Houston, we really, we get hot. And those long days of the sun are not as enjoyable in August. But anyway, today we're talking about the planet coming back to life. And this is the time when we, even I consider myself, and can I say this, a half-assed gardener? I'm not good at it. My dad and my grandpa, they were just incredible gardeners. Not only did we have a huge vegetable garden in our backyard, but any neighbor that wasn't using their garden spot, my dad would knock on their door and say, can we put in a garden? We'll give you half. And so one time I remember we had 4 different gardens going on in our little town. There's a lot of green beans. I shucked a lot of corn, dug a lot of potatoes. I didn't enjoy it, which is probably why now I live in a house with no garden. But I do enjoy nurturing things from potential into demonstration. And that is what we do in spirit. That's our practice at Unity, is that we take, it doesn't matter what it looks like in your life. If you want to be cultivating health or better relationships or greater abundance in your financial life, whatever greater experience of expressing your creativity in your work life, it doesn't matter that it's not here yet. That's not it. You see, there's potential within you, and the energy of life itself, the universe, spirit, divine creative energy is forever seeking to be revealed through you, through your desires, through your thinking and through your beliefs, into something you've never seen before. That's what unity is all about. So the title, More Than You Know. If I could have even remotely known to put my life today on a vision board 30 years ago, I would have thought, no. Can't possibly happen. That's way too much. That must be for somebody else, not for me. And it didn't happen overnight. It took 30 years of planting new seeds in thought into the soil of the receptive nature of God. Sometimes the metaphysicians call it the law. That law of cause and effect, that law of attraction. We place our coherent, focused thought and desire into that soil of the law, and something causes it to grow. And before we know it, we are pulling into our experience exactly what we had hoped for. Now, sometimes here's the thing, when you're going to plant a tomato seed, you're not going to get a grape. You're not going to get a banana. You're going to get a tomato. But you don't have to determine how many leaves that tomato vine is going to put out. You don't have to tell God how many tomatoes to put out and when they're going to be. You don't have to get to that level of detail. Just know, I want tomatoes. You hold that thought and you're clear with it. You're steadfast in it, and you not only plant the seed, but then guess what you have to do? You nurture it. Give it light and water. It's not magic in the way that, it's not. It feels like magic. You take a seed and then you get tomatoes. But it takes time and energy and the right nutrients, and then guess what? A few weeks, those little blossoms, little tiny yellow blossoms. If you have worms, you can feed them to your chickens if you have chickens. Those old tomato worms, they turn into those Luna moths, I think. Or hawk moths. But we don't want them on our tomatoes. I don't like to share my tomatoes with anybody. Well, not the moths, not the worms anyway. But if we do the work in spirit, you can see how my metaphor is getting a little, I could go with this all day. That the idea of nurturing from seed to beautiful, completed flower to fruit, it happens spiritually in our lives if we're willing to do the work. We have the capacity to transform our lives from what they are into that which is even beyond our seeing. I don't want to leave this topic of how we are in relationship to the earth because it says a lot. And it's not just a metaphor. It actually shapes the way we function and the way we feel. This is from Thomas Berry. If the outer world is diminished in its grandeur, then the emotional, imaginative, intellectual, and spiritual life of the human is diminished or extinguished. Without the soaring birds, the great forest, the sounds and colorations of the insects, the free-flowing streams, the flowering fields, the sight of clouds by day and the stars at night, without these we become impoverished in all that makes us human. And so if you're feeling a little stuck in your emotional and your spiritual and your creative life, go look at some flowers. Go walk by a bayou. Go sit with your back against one of these centuries-old live oak trees we have all over this city. Feel, because when you do that, you begin to connect to something bigger than you are. And that's how we begin to tap into the reality of that which is more than we have known so far. So we are given this amazing gift of a human life and the gift of this relationship with nature. And life and nature are great teachers. I would love it to be spring all the time. But would it mean as much if things were always blooming and they never fully progressed to fluting? Thank you, Cornell. You've got my fluting on my mind. To flowering and to fruiting, and then the fruit is there to get the seed. There is a cycle. There is a natural rhythm of seasons. This comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. For many, many years, I pushed away anything that was uncomfortable. Did my best to keep spring going 365 days a year. Didn't want to feel sad, pushed my sadness down. Didn't want to feel angry, pushed my anger away. I didn't want to experience grief and loss, so I would, and then, in my 20s, I learned this great secret. You could drink stuff away for a while. You know how that story ends. What I've learned, as I'm maturing spiritually, is to not push any of it away, but instead to integrate everything that happens. Sometimes we get this idea that if we go to Unity Church, they're so positive over there, I bet nothing negative will ever happen in your life if you go to Unity. Never. No more pain, no more illness, no more loss. No. The ones who've been around for 30, 40 years, is that true? That's not the way it works. But the teaching gives us a way to be with it and to give it new meaning in terms of God's not mad at us. We're not being punished by life. We're just in life. And with the way we respond to life, when we know that God is all there is and that the power of God is alive and moving through me, it changes the way we show up when those dark and difficult things happen. Last week I told the story of Jonah and Nineveh. 2 weeks ago, Reverend Karen told us a story, the beautiful story of Ruth and Naomi. And I must be in a storytelling mode because there's a story I want to share with you. And this one also comes from ancient peoples. It's not from the Bible. This comes from the ancient Greeks. And so this is what is known as a myth. But I would say the same thing as I said last week. I don't know if any of this happened, but I know it's true. There's great truth in this story. Demeter was a goddess of the harvest, a goddess of agriculture, of the growing things. It's said that she's the one that taught the people how to plant the seeds and grow their own food, and she blessed their harvest. She had a daughter, beautiful child. She named her Kore. And Kore literally translates to maiden, young female child, or young female woman. And this was her name, and Demeter loved her daughter so much, and they would walk in the beautiful earth together, gathering the flowers and the fruit. One day, Demeter was off doing some goddess business with the other goddesses. I don't know what it was. The story doesn't say. And she came back, and she couldn't find Kore anywhere. And she knew the places where she normally was, so she began to search for her in wider and wider circles and was becoming frantic with worry. She loved her daughter so much. As she traveled farther and farther, becoming more and more desperate, she began to cry. One version of this story says that wherever Demeter's tear fell to earth, the earth turned to stone that would support no more life. Eventually, she found herself in the company of Hecate. How do you say that? Hecate. We're going to go with that. She was one of the ancient goddesses, and she was the goddess of the crossroads. She was known for her far vision, and she helped people navigate those crossroad moments. She's one of the few goddesses who chose to show up as an old woman, that she knew the wisdom that collects with time and age and was not at all embarrassed or ashamed to present her visage as a wise old woman. She's sort of a grandmother figure. And so when Demeter came to her desperate, desolate, Hecate said, "I'll help you find Kore." And she said, "I didn't see it happen, but I heard her cry out. I think she might have been abducted." And this just increased Demeter's worry. But Hecate said, "Wait, we will go to Apollo. Apollo, the sun god, who rides in his chariot, who sees everything that happens on the planet. He'll know. He will have seen what happened." And sure enough, the two of them travel to the sky. They see Apollo, and they ask, and he says, "Oh, yes, I do know what happened." Kore's father, Zeus, was approached by his brother Hades, who was the god of the underworld. And it says that he was handsome. He had a mustache. You know those guys. He had a certain way of smiling that made the goddesses and the nymphs go, "Whoo!" And maybe some of the gods, I don't know, But he had come to his brother Zeus and said, "I would like to have Kore for my wife." And Zeus, as was the custom in that patriarchal society, and remember this is a story, he said, "Yes, I grant you permission to wed my daughter." But they didn't tell mom. Big mistake. So once Demeter had found out what happened, her grief just grew, and for years, it says, even for decades or centuries, she wandered the earth, continuing to try to find her beloved daughter, and couldn't. And the entire earth was turning to stone. Nothing would grow because she was a goddess of the harvest, and in her sorrow, she blessed no growing things. The people began to starve. And they could no longer bring their offerings to the other gods, and Zeus began to take notice. Interesting thing about Zeus, even though he's not a great character in a lot of things he does, he's willing to change his ways sometimes. He's willing to see that maybe what I did wasn't the right way. There is, and this is not in my notes, I tell you, I've got so much to say. For all of us, men and women, are meant to embody the divine masculine, divine feminine. These are archetypes, ways for us of being with the energies of life so that we can show up as whole and integrated people. And sometimes that divine masculine energy just kind of ramrods things. Just, we're going, here we go, get on board, we're going forward. And it's powerful energy to make something happen. And Zeus is great at that. Lightning bolt. But it also needs to be corrected. It also needs to be able to go, well, not that. And Zeus had one of those moments. He realized that his decision, he didn't see all of the long-term effects, and he didn't know that the people would starve. And so he sent Hermes, who was the messenger. Another thing about these ancient stories, they're interesting too, that the gods and goddesses, they had a job and a territory, and that's where they had to stay. Demeter was an earth goddess, and she couldn't go to the underworld where Hades ruled. It was not allowed. Zeus, God of Olympus, could not go to the underworld, but Hermes could. He was the messenger. So Zeus sent Hermes to the underworld and said, you must release Kore. Her grief, the grief of her loss has caused her mother too much pain for the world, and it must be remedied. So please, not please, you must return her to the upper world. And so Kore, before she left, Hades, that little mustache, he had a little trick up his sleeve, offered her a pomegranate from his garden. And she ate 3 seeds of the pomegranate. When she returned to the upper world, she was changed in a good way. She was no longer Kore, the innocent young maiden. She was Persephone, the goddess. And those 3 or 6, depending upon the way the story is told, pomegranate seeds ensured that she must always return to the underworld for part of the year. And so this is an origin myth of the seasons. That while Persephone is in the underworld where she tends and ministers and serves the dead who are new in this new world, she was called from great compassion, from the love her mother had shown her, and she helps them find their new life. In those months when she's away, nothing grows above. But each spring she returns with joy, with love to her mother, and life comes again to the upper world. I have loved this story. It helped me integrate this idea that life ain't going to be spring all the time. You know, I've never, I think, had, clinical depression. But I've had times where I've experienced what I would call situational depression in my life. I've times of grief and loss and sorrow, times when I don't feel springy. And I always thought I was doing it wrong. I always thought that, because that's just been my default most of the time, is like if something isn't feeling good, I'm doing it wrong. And this story, probably 25, 30 years ago, I heard someone teach on this story, and I realized, I'm not wrong, I'm just Persephone. I need to spend a little time in the underworld every year. It's a way of, the trees, when the leaves are gone, the deciduous trees anyway, in the winter they store all of those starches and all of the things that they have been converting with photosynthesized through their leaves. They convert it into sugars in the root, energy for a new spring, for a new chapter of fruit and growth. The story of Demeter and Persephone, it's meant the ancient peoples, it may have just been a tale they told to pass the time around the fire, but I don't think so. It was a tale to be told to teach people the way life works and how we're not meant to just force our will upon things like old Zeus trying to just, get it done. But we need to move in relationship, in community, in love, and in harmony. And then we can move with loss and with grief, with growth and with letting go. Like breathing in and breathing out. We've been through winter. And I don't just mean these past 3 months, I mean the last couple of years. So much disruption in our lives. I talk to people in our community who feel scared about the future. We've lost so much. How much is going to come back to normal? The predominance of mental illness in our world is off the charts right now. People dealing with anxiety, depression, many forms of it. And we all can get hypnotized into believing that whatever is right now is all that it's going to be. And I'm here to remind you today that that's not true. Never was true. I don't know what obstacle you're facing. I don't know what the struggle for you is, but I'm here to remind you that the potential for newness, for transformation, it's here. It's in your roots. You've been gathering it. I feel it in this church that we have not been able to do what we love to do. Today kind of feels like it a little bit more and more. And wait till the end of the service. We got dancers coming. Come on. We got spring happening today. We've been storing this energy of the difficult times so that we can put forth new growth, new possibilities. Emerson says this, what lies behind us and what lie before us are but tiny matters compared to what lies within us. I get excited by that. What wants to happen in you is bigger than you know. The level of fulfillment and freedom that Spirit is seeking to birth into your life on this spring day of 2022 is more than you know. It's big. It's beautiful. And it's just waiting for your permission, for your willingness to stake your faith in this claim that the Spirit that lives within me knows what it's doing and will get me through this. It will produce beauty and joy. I just have to trust it. I'm going to invite Dr. Joy Beth Lufty to the stage right now. Joy Beth is skilled and learned in something called body prayer. And she, a brand new song, it'll be on my new record coming out in just a few weeks. And Joy Beth has created a body prayer for it. I think she wanted to tell us a little bit about that.
Please stand if you can. Those that need to sit, you can get into the arm movements, just don't plop into the next person next to you. If you're standing, make sure that your feet are lined with your shoulder, that your knees are slightly bent. We don't want any frozen bodies up here, okay? 7 movements. First one is, now I am. Tell me if you can't see me. Tell me if you can't see me. You're going to go down, now that I am, and go up. So renewal. There you go. That's it. One more time. God is in me. God is in me. And lift that wonderful being that you are. God is in me. Beautiful, beautiful. I wish you could see you. All that I am. All that I am. All that I am. You got it. 4 gestures. First one, love. Outline of love into your heart. Beautiful, love. Oh, take it in. Love. Okay, second one, light. Flickers everywhere, everywhere. Flick, 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 flick. You got it, you got it. Beautiful. Joy. Circle out, put them together, and then jazz hands or sparkles. Jazz hands, sparkles, okay? So that's it, joy. Little joy, big joy. You got it. One more, peace. It's the infinity sign, which means internal peace. You're making an 8, a sideways 8, that's it. Beautiful. You can make it more, because you're going to go with the music. You're going to go with the music and the words, and you're going to follow me in the gestures. I'll guide you, but you're going to make it your own. Ready?
And now I am in love. The love of God is in me, and all I am is love. I am love. And now I am in light. The light of God is in me, and all I am is light. I am light. And now I am in joy. The joy of the Lord is in me, and all I am is joy. I am joy. I am joy. And now I am in peace. The peace of God is in me, and all I am is peace. I am peace. I am joy. I am light. I am love. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Joy.
I'm going to invite the director of our Spanish language ministry to come forward. This is Claudia Olmos and her beautiful daughter, Mirelli.
Good morning, everybody. I would like to share with you a poem from Netzahualcoyotl. Netzahualcoyotl was the king of Texcoco in the Aztec Empire for most of the 15th century, before the Spanish ever arrived in Mexico.
En la casa de las pinturas comienza a cantar. Ensaya el canto, derrama flores, alegra el canto.
In the house of paintings, start singing. Rehearse the song. Drop the flowers. Cheer up the song.
Resuena el canto, los cascabeles se hacen oír. A ellos responden nuestras sonajas floridas. Derrama flores, alegra el canto.
The song resounds. The bells are heard. To respond to them are flowery rattles. Drop the flowers, cheer up the song.
Sobre las flores canta el hermoso faisán. Su canto despliega en el interior de las aguas.
Over the flowers sings the beautiful pheasant. His song unfolds inside the waters.
A él responden variados pájaros rojos. El hermoso pájaro rojo bellamente canta.
They respond to him, various red birds. The beautiful red bird beautifully sings.
Libro de pinturas es tu corazón. Has venido a cantar. Haces resonar tus tambores. Tú eres el cantor. En el interior de la casa de la primavera, alegras a las gentes.
Book of paintings is your heart. You have come to sing. You make your drums resonate. You are the singer. Inside the house of spring, you make people happy.
Tú solo repartes flores que embriagan, flores preciosas.
You only distribute flowers that intoxicate, beautiful flowers.
Tú eres el cantor en el interior de la casa de la primavera. Alegras a todas las gentes.
You are the singer inside the house of spring. You make people happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, thank you, muchas gracias. Now let me introduce you to a very special presentation with music and dance. We had two special guests today. They are beautiful dancers, Jerubit Oropesa and Yuleris Linares. Please help me welcome them.
River is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing back to the sea. Mother, carry me, a child I will always be. Mother, carry me back to the sea. El río fluyendo, fluyendo y creciendo está. El río fluyendo hacia el mar. Madre tierra, tu hijo siempre seré. Madre tierra, llévame al mar. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing back to the sea. Mother, carry me, a child I will always be. Mother, carry me back to the sea. El río fluyendo, fluyendo y creciendo está. El río fluyendo hacia el mar. Madre tierra, tu hijo siempre seré. Madre tierra, llévame al mar.
you, thank you. I forgot to let you know that as you leave today, you're going to be given a packet of flower seeds just for you to use it as a spiritual metaphor, plant for the possibility of your lives. Okay.
Join us right after the service where Youth and Family Ministry is hosting Family Fun Day in Wallet Hall, and the theme is Spring Fling. Go and see the Renewal Nature Mandala, which is set up over by the base of the tree near the bookstore. This was created by the Unity Women's Retreat yesterday. We are having our annual meeting next Sunday at 1:15, and it is available to everyone because it will be online, so be sure to register and get the link for that.
So just give a little love for our dancers, our singers in the Spanish Mercy, our band, Cornell, thank you. What a wonderful day this has been. Thank you all. Please rise as you're able as we sing our peace song, and it's going to be a little special today.
Si quiero que haya paz, por mí debo comenzar. Si quiero que haya paz, ejemplo yo quiero dar. With God as creator, family all of me. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Que siempre haya paz es algo que hay que lograr. Que siempre haya paz, la meta que hay que alcanzar. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Join me in speaking the words of our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And today we proclaim God is good.
All the time. It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day
in a beautiful world.
in a beautiful world.
So put a smile on your face.
Put a smile on your face.
Shine your light in the world.
Shine the light of the world.
It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day
In a beautiful world.
in a beautiful world.
So put a smile on your face.
Put a smile on your face.
Shine your light in the world.
Shine the light of the world.
It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day
In a beautiful world.
in a beautiful world.
So put a smile on your face.
Put a smile on your face.
Shine your light in the world.
Shine the light of the world.
It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day
In a beautiful world.
in a beautiful world.
So put a smile on your face.
Put a smile on your face.
Shine your light in the world. It's a beautiful